The winner gets that number 7 seed in the playoffs, Nets and Cavaliers. And the Nets entered this season as the title favorites, but at best they would be a 7 seed in the playoffs. Since 85 and 86, only 2 teams have been seeded 7th or lower after entering the season as the title favorite, and both of them lost in the first round. But first things first. Despite Kyrie Irving's part-time availability, the Nets went 11-6 during the regular season when they had both KD and Irving in the lineup, as they will tonight. They had what would rank as the best offense in the NBA during those particular games. And they won 3 out of 4 meetings with the Cavaliers. Both home wins came by double digits. And they won all 3 meetings that Kevin Durant played in. So as we go back to Nick Friedell to turn it onto the court, which will certainly be a challenge after the scary and very, very difficult events of the day, let's focus on the game itself, as the 2 teams will have to. And Woj, in addition, has reported that should the Nets advance, that they're very optimistic that Ben Simmons could return for a first-round playoff series. So what's the latest with that situation, and what are you hearing from his teammates in that regard?
Hannah, it's been very interesting in the last few days, even in the last couple of weeks. You ask Steve Nash, and he says, we're still hopeful. We will put Ben in there whenever he is physically ready to play. We will welcome that challenge if it comes. You ask his teammates, and they say, we haven't seen Ben that much on the floor. He's been in meetings. He's trying to learn the system as he can. But their point is, Simmons is going through all this individual work, and he's not doing anything team-wise yet. Nash told us the other day he still hasn't been cleared for conditioning, hasn't been able to run. Yesterday when we got out on the floor, he was working with resistance bands and doing some stretching. But it's very unclear. It's very hazy when Simmons may be able to return. As Woj reported, there is some hope, certainly internally, that it would happen at some point here in the next few weeks. The Nets just don't know, because the day that Ben Simmons, and this is a couple months ago, Hannah, was supposed to ramp everything up and start going, that's when the back injury occurred. He has not done one thing on the floor since, so he has a long way to go still to build up that conditioning and feel comfortable out there. But that's why the Nets are so hopeful that they can keep winning and extending that runway for whenever he is ready to give them 10 or 15 minutes potentially in a playoff game.
Right, Nick, you have to go all the way back to June 20th, the last time that he played a basketball game. That's 296 days. So as of now, Cavaliers at Nets, that playoff game is going to happen as scheduled. And Nick, we will look forward to your updates all day long on that developing story. Thank you.
Other side of the equation, the Cavaliers. No team entered with longer championship odds than the Cavs. They won 44 games, exceeding their preseason win total by Caesars Sportsbook by 17.5, most in the NBA. They'll need to limit Brooklyn's scoring, which they struggled during the season. Cleveland allowed nearly 113 points per game in 4 games against the Nets, despite dropping a top 5 defense, besides being a top 5 defense in the league. And they are led by Darius Garland, who averaged 25 points and 8 assists during the Nets in those 4 games. Garland, one of 5 players in the league to average 20-plus points and 8 per game. So, Tim Legler, how big is the key to Garland?
If you start off your tee-up with, wow, how about Darius Garland, then the Cavs had a good night, because that's what it's going to take. And he's capable. This is an elite-level offensive player, first-time All-Star this year, and he can do it both ways. He can beat you as a scorer. He can beat you as a playmaker. He's going to have to be special. He's going to have to outplay Kyrie Irving. He did that in one of their matchups earlier this year. So we need to be talking about how good Darius Garland was for the Cavaliers to win this game. And then they got to make a ton of threes. You know, I think 12 to 15 made threes, and certainly win the three-point battle against Brooklyn, because Brooklyn is going to do a lot of damage with Durant and Kyrie in the middle area of the floor. And they're high-volume shot takers, so you have to win the three-point battle amongst those other role players. Honestly, Jared Allen being out's a big loss, but it's going to be difficult to play 3 bigs against the Nets anyway, because of all the switches, and putting a 7-footer on one of those 2 guys is a problem. So let's see how creative they can get playing a little bit smaller lineup. And then Darius Garland, you got to be special, or else you're going to end up having to have one more game to see if you can hold on to the 8 spot.
Give me some playing. Let's go. Brooklyn won 3 of the 4 games. Should be fun. Then tomorrow night, the winner tonight face the 7 seed. They'll face the Celtics. Tomorrow night, ESPN, Hornets, and Hawks. They're going to play, Hannah, with the winner facing the loser of tonight's game.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.